Hi, everybody, and welcome to Midwest Racing Central today. Pete Pistone with you. The calendar's about to turn to May. That means more racing here in the Midwest, including at Madison International Speedway this weekend. Let's bring in the man who runs Madison and is involved with so many other things here in the Midwest. Gregg McKarns is with us here on Midwest Racing Central today. Greg, how are you?
Awesome. We're doing great. Just racing season's definitely in full swing and getting ready to go here for the Joe Shear Classic on Sunday at Madison.
Well, let's talk about Madison, and then we'll get to all the other things that you do. So that's your first race of the season. For those that don't know, the Joe Shear Classic ASA Midwest Tour, what can we expect this coming Sunday, Greg?
Yeah, so this is the 19th annual. When my wife Angie and I bought the track, it was going, and since then we've really stepped it up and paid tribute to Joe. And he's a short track legend, not just in the Midwest but nationwide. And it's pretty cool to carry on his name. His wife Connie's on her way here right now, and we're actually going to have a bunch of Joe's old memorabilia on display, and there's going to be a silent auction for that, and we got some other tricks up our sleeves. So it's a 15,000 to win, 200 lap race. We've grown that over the years, and the teams have responded well. And the who's who of Midwest super late model short track racing will be in Oregon on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and 200 action packed laps. We do controlled pit stops, which is a rolling. It's a bit different than what you would see on NASCAR. Basically, if a green flag run goes 50 laps, sometime in the next 15, the caution will come out, and that saves the teams on pit crew money. A live pit crew when we went to this was anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 to bring in for the day, and so we eliminated that cost for them. It's a 6-tire race, so you'll see the strategy play out on tires a lot more than you do when there's too many tires. Everyone takes tires at the same time, but you'll have comers and goers, and guys will wait to put tires on the last lap or the last pit stop. And other people like Paulie Schaefer a few years ago at our show in Kaukauna, he put the tires on early and he outran the field. So you just never know how it's going to play out. And weather looks good for the weekend, and we're just getting ready to welcome all these guys and see how it plays out on Wisconsin's fastest half mile on Sunday.
Well, we can't wait for that. That will be the first race for your Madison International Speedway season. I look at your schedule. Your schedule is so interesting to me, Greg. You do a good job of bringing in sort of national events, big events, but also balancing it with your regular Friday night schedule there. Bring the listeners into kind of what's in store for the rest of the year and how you kind of go about putting your schedule together at MIS.
Yeah, we say that I'm a race fan first, so I just did a trip from Florida north, and I hit my 254th racetrack I've seen racing at. So I'm a bit addicted to this, and the beauty of it is that we're able to schedule what we want to see at our racetrack. So once a month we have a big show. So for instance, in May, it's the Joe Shear Classic, and then in June we actually have a couple big shows. But the ASA Stars National Tour is here on a Tuesday night. July, we have the Howie Leto Classic with the Midwest Tour. August, we have the Arca Menard Series. So there's something different. But our weekly show has really taken off here as of late. We average 23 late models a show on Friday nights. It's a 7:30 show. We're done by 10 o'clock. It's 4 divisions, and we get after it. And we just have just a great mix of drivers in that late model class, champions from other tracks, champions from our track. Jacob Gady, who runs with us at La Crosse, just won the national NASCAR championship, and he's coming to run Sunday also. So you never know who's going to drop in. A few years ago, we had Buddy Kofoid show up in a late model on a Friday night, and now he's running. He's one of the top dogs on the World of Outlaws. So the caliber of talent that's able to come through here on a Friday night. This is a show place, and those weekly programs really hit the mark each and every week. And every week something different. Whether it's one of our biggest shows for our weekly late models is that we have it's the Fast Cars and Freedom 76. So it's twin 38 lap features, $1,776 to win each of them. We were over 30 cars for that show last year. Our Big 8 shows, so Big 8 late models that run down at Grundy, and we're based out of Rockford for years. We have 2 shows with them, Memorial Day weekend and then the first Friday of August. So uh, every week offers something different. The fourth division that we bring in, we'll have everything from vintage stock cars to legend cars to Vandelleros to uh, East Coast, Eastern Wisconsin modifieds, which I mean that's like the old Miles Melius cars ripping around our quarter mile track. So we try to bring in different. That fourth division's always rotating. So one week it might be high school racing association, and the next week it might be four-cylinder Midwest dash cars. So always something a little bit different here on a Friday night at Madison.
Now, you mentioned the quarter mile, and I was going to bring that up. I had not seen that since I was up at your place last year. I know you've done that for a while. What was sort of the impetus of putting that in and the kind of racing you put on for the fans on that little quarter mile track, Greg?
So that track was put in prior to us purchasing the track. Angie and I purchased this in 2015. We've been promoting events here, she and I, since 2003, and our family has been promoting events here since 1978. So an interesting part is I found one of my dad's old folders, and he had been trying. Fred Nielsen owned the track in the early 80s and had hired my parents as the managers. And I found a sketch of the racetrack my dad wanted to put in as a quarter mile. And this little track that we have here, we call it the Ring of Fire, is just about dead on with what he had sketched out for Fred Nielsen in the 80s. And I asked Terry Kunis, and Dave Grunberg, had they ever seen that, and they hadn't. They just it was meant to be. And the track races so well. We got guys that race all over, and they just like the Riedner family is a long history here in Wisconsin. And anytime they come run on it, they just always point out what a great track it is. We moved the wall away, so we try not to tear up anything. If a guy gets out of shape, they're able to go through the infield and get back at it versus tearing fenders off. So after we've done that, it races a lot better. Our 6-shooter class is our main class on that, and we average over 20 of those a night. And you just never 3-4 wide race, and it just lends itself with the way the banking is and transition onto the big track and everything. It's just a fun little track we have here in the middle of our half mile.
So lots always going on there at Madison, but you're also involved in a lot of other things. And on Friday nights are at Madison. On Sunday night, Angell Park Speedway up there, a dirt track. Tell us how you got involved there and what are some of the things that the fans can look for here in 2026, Greg?
Yeah, we have 10 races this year at Angell Park. So our son Al is graduating from college, and he's going to be the point man there and learn the ropes even more. He's grown up in short track racing as I did, and we're excited to see what he is able to bring to the table there this year. But the Badger midgets are. I liken it to, sorry for the Bears fans out there, but I liken Angell Park to Lambeau Field. You don't have a football game at Lambeau Field if the Packers or the Badgers aren't playing, especially the Packers. Well, you don't have a race at Angell Park if you don't have Badger midgets. So they're part of all 10 shows. But then we have, IRA 410 sprints. We have the World of Outlaws there. We have the Dirt Kings late models. It's a different basket every week. We were over 30 legend cars, and those legend cars rip around that track. It's just cool. But at the end of the day, it's a home of the mighty midgets, and we close out the season on Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So that's September 7th this year, and that's the 41st Firemen's Nationals. And so it's a midget open wheel doubleheader. We have USAC National Midgets and the Badger Midgets. I actually went out to Turkey Night Grand Prix a couple of years ago, and we were sitting out on the beach and fires going and having a couple beers. And the guys across from me had no idea who I was, but they were talking about Angell Park and how great the Badger Midgets are there. And they were from California. So that's a special place. And I used to go there as a kid, and of all people, I'd see Joe Shear sitting in the stands, and I always thought that was so cool. He'd go there on Sunday nights to watch the races, and that always resonated with me. So when we came to Madison, that became a date night for Angie and I to go over to Angell Park on Sundays. And the promoter and me always thought that we could do a better job, and now we're going into year 6 being at Angell Park, and we love it over there, and we continue to make improvements and continue putting on really exciting shows on Sunday nights.
That's great. So that's a great weekend up there in Wisconsin. So obviously, when we talk about a dirt track or a pavement track, a special event, one of the common denominators, as you kind of alluded to this, the fan experience. When people pay their hard-earned money to come up to a racetrack and spend their night, what's sort of your philosophy for a fan when they come onto one of your properties in terms of a race night, Greg?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm a race fan first. I grew up in it. You grew up in it. A lot of us that are watching this, been around it since we were in diapers. And I just want to make sure that when that fan comes out, they're leaving smiling, they're leaving at a decent time, they can go meet the drivers. All those things are important. A program in hand, a driver's list, so they know who the players are. All those things sometimes get forgotten in this technical world that we live in, and we just try to make sure that that experience, whether it's from the clean bathrooms, affordable food. I have a whole list of things that you see. You go to the airport and it's $14 to park a day, and we don't charge a dime to park. There's just life right now. You get nickel to dime so much, but there's just that family dynamic at all of our racetracks. So we're also involved on in lacrosse on Saturday nights, but we have family pricing at all three tracks, and that's 2 adult admissions and up to 4 youth admissions, ages 17 and under. I think it's just important to have that place where families can come out and experience and make memories, and all those special memories that you build year after year. Those don't go away, and the pictures of the kids in the grandstands or down in an autograph session, all that matters. So we're always trying to make sure that we can do better, constantly taking notes. When we go to other tracks, how can we make that fan experience better? So of all things, I went to Cletus McFarland's Freedom Factory a couple weeks ago, and he had a VIP experience, and you got to get in early, and basically you were overlooking the pit area. And that it's nothing new. It's been done before, but maybe it's gotten forgotten or put on the wayside because it is kind of labor intensive. But so we got back here and kind of studied MIS, and it's like, well, how can I let people in the pits early at Joe Shear Classic to go be by Ty Majeski's car or Casey Johnson's car or their James Swan in his truck? How do I do that? And I'm looking, and I'm like, well, if I fence this area off, they're not really going to have the view of all the guys. And well, cars don't go on the track till 11:30, so we're going to open the pits from 9 to 11 on Sunday for those that bought tickets in advance, and they can be admitted early and get to see the drivers before they go to battle. And I think that's important because it's better to have a horse in the race and someone to cheer for. We can all go to a Cubs game and we know to cheer for the Cubs or to the Brewers or the Bears or the Packers or what have you. But you show up at a racetrack and there's anywhere from 20 to 30 cars out on the track, and it's who do you cheer for? But if all of a sudden your kid sat in Jordan DeVoy's car before the races and he signed an autograph card for your son and personalized it, well, now you might become a Jordan DeVoy fan, and now you're cheering for the 38 car come Sunday. So all those things, is never one. There's not one bullet that's gonna make it all happen, but it's a collection of a lot of different moving parts to pull an event off.
So important as well. And Greg was the 43rd recipient of Promoter of the Year, so I think he knows what he's talking about. So I want to kind of follow or end our conversation and talk about the competition. And another thing you've been really involved in this world of late model racing and super late model racing here in our area of the country is trying to get some unified rules. And we know that's an arduous task. Where are we right now? We've talked to folks from Grundy and Slinger and the Dells this year about what they're doing with super late models. How do you see that, Craig, right now about super late models and trying to get tracks to have kind of the same rules as much as you can around the Midwest?
We were really good last year, and I think we're still in a good spot. Some of what's happening is trying to align more with the national, and right, wrong, or indifferent. The greater upper Midwest, if you will, from an asphalt super late model racing standpoint, is strong and good car counts, good fan support, but it's different than maybe what you're seeing down south. And we have guys that are running chassis that are 20 years old, and we have guys that are running chassis that are, in my opinion, way overpriced for what we're doing, and they're still qualifying within a tenth of a second of each other, if not closer. And a lot of times it's the older iron is getting it done. So part of that might be with the 2-barrel platform, which we've been on since the concept engine came along in, I guess that would have been in the early 90s or late 80s. And the upper Midwest was the first to go to the 9-to-1 engine when the big cubic inch engines were dominating, and guys like Dick Trickle and Tom Ruffner saw the writing on the wall that we need to be mindful and keep the realities of the financials in check. And so they got behind that 9-to-1 program with Clem Drosty. And so I think that 2-barrel program, while we all love the sound of 4-barrel racing and everything else, but the wear and tear on the cars, on the engines, everything else, to go 0.2 of a second quicker, it might not make a whole lot of sense. And so fuel cell heights are a bit different. Bodies got in line this year nationally with the new 5-star body and the spoiler that they allowed on that. So that's a good step. And at the end of the day, a guy like Justin Monday can pull from central Wisconsin, and he can go down to Florida and race in the winter and put a 4-barrel on. So the fuel cell height, we had been at 10 inches here in the Midwest. A couple people went to 8 to get with more in line with the national, but most cars have that bracket in place to be able to adjust that. So at the end of the day, it's not perfect, but we're a heck of a lot closer than we have been. We have a lot of engine options up here. And obviously, if a guy wants to go national touring, he's not going to be able to take some of those combinations to the south or out to Kern County in California or what have you. But that's okay, because that's nothing new. It's been going on since the 90s. So because then it was 18-degree heads, and so while you want everything perfect, we also have to make sure that our own house is in order. And within our house, we're pretty darn close. Where Ty Fredrickson can run the same car at the Dells on Icebreaker as he does at Joe Shear Classic, as he does at Oktoberfest, as he does across the region. So I think that's very important. And the guys that want to go do the national deal, really back to the ASA national program in the 80s and 90s, whether it was a V6 engine or later on the LS1 engine, a guy had a touring ASA car. And not that we want to get back to that. We'd rather everyone be able to run the same car, but it's nothing new. So we'll continue to work on it. Or the powers that be will continue to work on it. I'll concentrate more on special events and weekly racing at this point, because there's with the new ASA program that's nationally, they're probably in a better position to get those rules more in line, whether it be with Midwest and CRA and Southern Super Series and Cars West and all that. There's just they have a bigger footprint, and excited to see what they're able to pull off, because it was for 9 years we tried to get everyone on the same page, and we did. And now the next part's coming to try to get everyone on the same page nationally. So excited to see how that looks, because it obviously will be a benefit to everyone.
Yeah, we look forward to that. But we know we've got some strong racing here in the Midwest, certainly at Madison this year, Angell Park, Lacrosse, and some of the other tracks you're involved with. Appreciate you giving us some time this week. I know how busy it is. Best of luck this season, and look forward to coming up and seeing you at MIS this summer, Greg. Thank you.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you much, and we'll see you at the races.
There he is. It's Gregg McKarns from Madison International Speedway, Angell Park, involved with a lot of different things here in the Midwest, and look forward to heading up to MIS out there in Oregon, Wisconsin this summer. I'm Pete Pistone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on Midwest Racing Central Today.